Michael Stack is my next guest, and you can catch him fight next at LFA 97 on UFC Fight Pass, January the 15th, when he faces Jordan Mapa. Michael, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. Happy to have you on. And today is the last day of 2020, and it's been a very trying year for all of us. I know personally it's been a great year for you, having a beautiful little daughter. Just tell me, now that this year is basically all done, I mean, how do you, sum it up as far as, career and then personal life and all that?
Well, for me, a whole lot didn't really change. Was still training, still getting the work in. I had a few times that I had some fights scheduled and that they fell through because of COVID. The last time I went out to Wichita, Kansas to go fight for LFA, it had to get rescheduled because I ended up testing positive for COVID. So that was, that's been kind of a hassle with booking fights, getting things going. I know a lot of gyms have been closing down around the country and stuff like that. Fortunately, the gyms that I've been training at, they've all stayed open, which has been a huge blessing. Business-wise, financially, I haven't really taken an impact. And then, of course, we talked about my baby girl being born back in October. So, a lot of big life things have happened this year. I got engaged. My baby was born, fighting for LFA, things like that. But it's been kind of same as usual for me,
Yeah.
which is a blessing.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, especially on the little girl and the engagement. I actually got engaged myself earlier this year, and my fiance and I are getting married next year, and she wants a baby immediately. And I have a lot of friends that have kids. How has your life changed the most since having your little girl?
Well, definitely you got to be good at time management, time management skills are important now that you have somebody else that is relying on you, and you have to be responsible for them as well, not just yourself. So training, my training schedule definitely has to be precise. I need to be getting my rest that I need, getting the meals that I need, and then also, in between those times, giving the time to my baby girl and helping Sarah out. Fortunately, Sarah's been a huge help. But it's a responsibility, and it definitely, you notice it, especially in the beginning months when they're waking up every couple hours throughout the night because they're hungry and things like that, which is, I love my sleep. So that was a little hard adjustment right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about the most. Me and my fiance Katie, I talk about it all the time because if I don't get my sleep, I can be a little cranky. I'm just going to be honest. So that's what I'm nervous about. But I hear that you adjust, and it just becomes easier as you're just around the child more.
Yeah, it definitely does. One thing is, right when I held her for the first time, man, we kind of had a little bit of scary birthing situation. We actually had to get an emergency C-section. The doctors were pretty worried about Peyton when she was being born. So there was a whole lot of craziness going on. And, right when they were pulling her out of Sarah, you could kind of sense there was like an aura in the room where the doctors were nervous, and it kind of scared Sarah and I. And when they pulled her out, we didn't hear any noise or anything like that. And then about, like 30 seconds after they pulled her out, I finally hear this first scream. And it was honestly, hearing a baby scream and cry is kind of not the best sound. But at that moment, it was the most beautiful noise I could ever imagine. And it just brought me to tears, dude. And holding her in my arms is, it's something special. And every time I look at her, it's like, wow, it's a miracle for sure.
Yeah, congratulations, man. That's fantastic. And hearing the emotion and seeing it in you talk about your baby girl, that's really special right there. Now, did you get COVID before or after she was born?
Right after. Yeah. So she was born October 17th. I was supposed to fight November 17th or something like that. And about 2 weeks after she was born, maybe 3 weeks after she was born, I got COVID, and I felt it at the beginning. I felt kind of crappy, like I just didn't feel like I had any cardio. I felt like my body was kind of just not up to par. And then about 3 days into it, that's when I started to get body aches and chills for one day, and then that was kind of like the peak of it, and I started feeling better after that. But it took probably 2.5 weeks all around to fully recover from it. So the week of the fight, I was on the back end of it, but I still felt, kind of like maybe 70-75% of myself,
Wow.
So yeah, but the one thing that was nice is Sarah didn't get sick, the baby didn't get sick, so and they were eating off me because we originally I didn't know I had it until I got tested at the promotion. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that must have been scary too once you found out, knowing that your baby girl and your fiance are right there with you all the time. Did that add a extra level of, I guess, fear in you that especially because they say infants and elderly are the risk factors for COVID are more.
really, I didn't know that I thought the risk factors for infants were minimal because I thought infants didn't really experience symptoms from what I was understanding. I could be wrong. But I wasn't super nervous about it because I do believe that I might have had it back when it first came into the United States back in like February or so, early 2020, right when 2020 started. I was traveling from, I went to Vegas, I went to Miami, I was in Wisconsin. So I was doing a lot of traveling and being around all those other people, and a lot of those being big touristy spots. I feel like that's when I really first contracted it, and it felt the exact same. So I think I've had it before. I take it it's a serious disease, but it's not something that I'm scared of for sure.
Yeah. Well, how are you feeling now? And I know you're in Vegas right now, preparing for your fight down at Syndicate. Just tell me, how healthy is your body feeling leading into this big fight?
I feel great. I think I've been really amping up the cardio. The training out here is great. The competition's great. So, obviously I got, you get sore and beat up a little bit throughout the week, and then you get some time to recover and you feel you're ready to do it next week. But as far as like injuries go, no injuries, everything's good. So I think I'm ready to go.
That's good to hear. Who have been the main training partners for this camp down at Syndicate?
Since I've been here, I've been training a little bit with Natan Levy. Um, some of their, I guess that would be one name that you would know. He just got into the UFC, I believe, just won his contender fight. A little bit with Jordan Levitt. But really, they got a bunch of guys down here that, you get some rounds in with everybody, and it really gives you some good looks. So.
Yeah, I just interviewed Jordan a couple of weeks ago, and his KO slam that he had was unreal. How would you compare that to some of the other big knockouts this year? Obviously Impa Kasanganay got knocked out by that Buckley flying, whatever you want to call it, kick. Like what stands out to you when you think of like the best KOs so far this year?
Yeah, I mean that Buckley KO was pretty crazy. But it seems like it's been overplayed now. Everyone's like, it's old news. You know what I mean? You know what really impresses me is Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland impresses the hell out of me because the dude is super active and he can knock dudes out while he's in guard. You know what I mean? He was on his back punching Jacques in the face and knocked him out. So to me, that just shows that the dude can whip his punches and he's got some powerful hands. So that's a guy that really impresses me. I'm excited to see what he's going to do in his career because that dude is on a roll right now.
100% agree. That's one of the first knockouts I think of when I think of 2020. What do you think of just the sport of MMA in general growing? Because this year, really in particular, Dana White and the UFC really took the bull by the horns. And I mean, they had so many events, like one right after the other, multiple a week at times. And I just feel like the sport is growing to a point where it's going to be considered in that like top 4 or 5 in the very near future.
Yeah, I agree. I think Dana has done, as far as the decisions he's made business wise, I think he has done a phenomenal job with the UFC. He has grown the promotion to a household name. When people think of the sport of MMA, they say UFC. You know what I mean? And that's a significant thing to have your brand associated with, is the actual sport. You don't think, when you think of football, you're not saying New England Patriots, you're saying football. But when people are thinking MMA, they're saying UFC. So obviously he's doing something right. I think it was a good move for him not to bow down to COVID, restrictions, not be too afraid of it. Obviously, we need to take it seriously and take the precautions necessary. But if we can have these events going and keep people safe, then absolutely we need to do it. And I think he's done a great job.
Definitely. Have you ever had anybody ask you if you train UFC?
I have, yeah. People say, "Oh, you fight UFC," and things like that, or they'll look at my ears and be like, they'll say, "You do it, I do it, UFC and stuff like that," and that's just one of those things that it's kind of a common joke in this type of community, but most people don't realize that that's not the correct way to say it. That the UFC is the promotion, not the support, not the sport. You know what I mean?
For sure. Now, a guy that is in the UFC right now, who unfortunately you had your lone professional loss to, Kai Kamaka. What's the lesson learned from this one? Looking back at it now.
I think the lesson learned is, our fight, I believe, was super close. I think he won it because he got that takedown in the third round, and I wasn't able to capitalize when I stood up as best as I could. I think had I thrown a little bit more punches, scored a little bit more, that round would have been mine. And I think it was that close. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, the biggest lesson from that is just, always search and always be looking to take the round and take the fight out of the judge's hands, obviously. But if you can't, do your darndest to get that win and, put it all out there. And I put it all out there, but there was, at the end of the fight, I think, had I just been able to throw 10 more punches, I really do, and landed them, I think I would have scored enough to take the round away. Even the announcers were like, hey, if he could steal this round if he could just throw some more. And it is what it is. I learned from it, and I'll get better.
What was your mentality after that, especially when you see that he gets the call up to the UFC, which is, I know, has to be your goal here in the very near future? Was it tough to see him get that, then get a win?
I think the toughest part was to see he and I got fight of the night that night, and then like shortly after he goes into the UFC, he gets another fight of the night, but this time he comes home with $50K for it. So that was a little bit disheartening. The thing though is like it's kind of like it's sour sweet, because I know I'm right there. I think I could have beat him. I think if we run it back, I do beat him. And he's in the UFC, so that puts me, in my opinion, like right up there too. One thing too is I kind of got into that mentality of let's just bang it out, and he started using more of the game. When he was beating me a little bit in the beginning, the first round striking, second round I come back, almost put him to sleep. Third round, again, I almost put him to sleep. And then that's when he's like, okay, I need to switch it up. I'm obviously losing on my feet now. I need to take this guy down. And he used the whole game. And this isn't, boxing with MMA gloves. This is MMA. So I should have been, kind of incorporating the whole game as well. And that was a lesson from it too. But yeah, I'm not disappointed. Everything works out for a reason, it all work out in the end.
For sure. Were you surprised at the way Jonathan Pierce finished him?
So I was a little bit surprised because I thought he looked good in the first round. I think the first round that they had was super close, but I thought that he took the first round. Then he comes out in the second round and he looked horrible. He looked like he just lost his whole gas tank. And then, Pierce was a tough dude and didn't give him anything and took everything that he could. And yeah, I was a little surprised with the finish, but again, I think I saw him starting to break in our fight. And so it wasn't something that I was surprised to see.
Gotcha.
I didn't capitalize on it as well. So,
well, maybe you'll get your chance at that rematch at some point here in the very near future. Now, you used to fight at lightweight. How is that weight cut now, making it down to 145? Is it pretty seamless for you?
Well, it's a lot of dieting. Like I'll be probably doing a 6-week diet, eating the same food. Like right now, I'm eating oatmeal and some lean ground beef for breakfast. So, it's not the tastiest meal, and it's repetitive, but that's about the worst it gets. As far as the water cut and things like that, when it gets closer to the fight, it's a little hard, but I wouldn't say it's much harder than my lightweight cut. But the thing about lightweight is I was eating whatever I wanted, drinking whatever I wanted, and not really worrying about meals at all. So it's kind of nice to not have to worry about those things, but I feel like I'm pretty competitive here at 45, so that's where I think I'm going to stay.
Yeah, makes sense. What's the heaviest you get up to, like out of camp, if you're not really getting after it? Like, what's the biggest you weigh?
The heaviest I get is probably about 170. Okay. 172 maybe on a real heavy day, if I'm eating some Oreos and donuts and whatnot. But yeah, I don't really get much bigger than that.
Is that the weakness for you? Oreos, donuts? Like, are you a sweets guy? Because for me, it's pizza. Like, I can stay pretty in good shape as long as I stay away from pizza. But I get around pizza and I just eat all of it.
Man, I don't know. I think I definitely got a sweet tooth, but any type of food that isn't my diet food, I'm gonna huff it down, man. So, you get off one of these diets and you're like, well, I want to make up for all the time that I just lost. So it's almost I don't know, it's a bad relationship with food that I got right now.
Yeah, I think we all do. Is that your fiance over there agreeing with what you're saying?
Yeah, this is them right now.
Hello. Oh, yeah, that's
okay, I'll show you Peyton. This is a little Miss P right here.
She is so cute. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, my fiance has baby fever, man. So it literally our wedding date is October the 23rd, and I think she wants to be pregnant the 24th and start the family.
Hey, man, it's a blessing for sure. I think you'll love it. It's a lot of work, but I know you can handle it. People have been doing it since we were. Since humans existed. So if they could do it back then with less things and technology than we have now, then we can get it done. We can get it done.
Absolutely. Well, again, adorable. Congratulations. Let's talk about this fight. It's right around the corner, January the 15th, almost 2 weeks away to the day. It's going to be in Park City, Kansas. Who will be making the trip with you there come fight night?
I'm probably going to bring my head coach, Ryan Schultz, most likely. He's definitely coming with me unless something crazy happens, unless the meteor hits his house or something like that. But yeah, Ryan will be out there with me, and we're only allowed to have one corner, so he's going to be the only one.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure because I know some promotions allow 2. I know Bellator, I think, allowed 3. I was just there a couple months ago. But yeah, okay, so at least you'll have your head coach there. As far as this matchup goes with Mapa, he's 3-2. When you look at this fight, is there an area where you feel like you hold a advantage?
I think I'm more all around. I think I beat him. Striking, I think ground game wise, I think I beat him. Do I think he's going to be a tough fight and a game opponent? Yeah, I think he's coming to fight. You know what I mean? And obviously, my mentality is kind of like I'm better than the next guy, no matter what. So whoever you put in front of me, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to beat that mofo. But I'm not super, I'm not super like, we don't fight the best that I can. I'm not trying to fight to an opponent's skill set or anything like that. If I recognize that they have certain skill sets, I will make sure I'm able to defend those or prepared for them. But yeah, I think this fight, I'm just looking forward to a good fight. I definitely think I can finish him in the grappling aspect. I think I can finish him on the feet. So I don't try to. Obviously, I visualize the fight, but I don't try to like make one thing happen. I'll have a friend who say, "Oh, I'll visualize this so it happens," and it's like, yeah, I can see people doing that. That's not my style. I just go in there and fight. If it's chaotic and crazy, that's the way I like it.
Gotcha. Well, I know a win is all that matters to you. When you look at 2021, I mean, obviously started it off, with a win here on the 15th for LFA. That's what you're focused on. But what are the goals here? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish before 2022 gets here? Because it'll be here before we know it.
Right. Yeah. This year's gone by pretty fast. Seems like March was just last month. But my goals are to be a better fighter, more well-rounded, and I want to be in the UFC this year. I've been talking to my management and things like that. They think that we can get to the UFC this year. But when I get to the UFC, I don't want to just get there. I want to be making waves, and I want to be beating the guys at the highest level. So I don't want to get there, lose a couple fights, and be out. That's not my style. That's not what anyone wants to do. So you can't just expect to get into the UFC and kind of coast. It's probably even a stronger uphill battle once you get in there. So to me, just finding my weaknesses and shaving them down and making them strengths. You know what I mean? That's what I want.
For sure. Well, I have no doubt you'll accomplish all of that and more. I believe the same night that you fight, Calvin Kattar fights Max Holloway. Who do you like in that one?
I think it's the next day, but yeah, that's going to be a tough fight for Holloway, I believe. I like Holloway. I think he's a great, phenomenal fighter. I don't think he has the power that Kattar has, and I don't think he has the actual striking that Kattar has, because Kattar actually is a great precision striker. He's a great boxer, and he's got power. We know Max can take a punch, but I don't know if he can hit as hard as Kattar, and I think that's going to be the difference maker in that fight. I want to say Max because I like him, but I really I'm leaning towards Kattar in this one just because that dude's on a roll, and he's got something going right for him right now, and I think he's got the momentum behind him. So
yeah,
we'll see how Max comes out. That's one thing I'd like to see. Max didn't look like himself in his last couple fights. I don't think. Against Alex, he didn't really look this. The first time he fought Alex, it didn't look the same as his previous fights before that. So
for sure, I completely agree. Volkanovski is such an interesting stylistic matchup with how short and stout he is. I'm interested to see what kind of Max we see in this next one. But I like that breakdown. I think I'm going to have you come on sometime and do like a UFC card preview with me because you might have a future in that.
Yeah, man. I like to do some DraftKings betting on the fights, and we do pretty well. The last time that I bet, though, I lost all my money on Justin Gaethje. He trains down in Colorado. I know him. He's kind of, I've trained with him before, so he's kind of like rooting for the home team, and maybe I let my emotions get involved a little bit too much, but I really thought, man, if he fought like he had in the past, if he had fought Khabib his style, which I don't believe he fought his style, he kind of adhered to Khabib's style and was trying to run away too much, and that's not his style. His style is to come in and smash, and I think had he gone with his style, it would have been a different fight. But Khabib is the best for a reason, man. He's undefeated for a reason, right?
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think the one guy that could still potentially beat him is retired. That Canadian up there from Montreal, that guy George St Pierre. But
GSP?
yeah.
Well, they're not even in the same weight class, so I want to see somebody that's an actual 55er in that weight class. I want to see give him a good fight. You know what I mean? Personally, I would like to see a Conor McGregor and Khabib fight again. I think I would like to see Conor, motivated Conor, Conor that actually took his camp seriously, because I thought he looked slow when he fought Khabib. He didn't have that same fast twitch that he normally does, and I'd like to see a guy who fought Eddie Alvarez fight Khabib. I want to see that Conor fight Khabib, and I think that'd be a different fight.
I'm with you 110%. Sign me up. I hope that is the next fight for Khabib, because I'm a GSP homer. That's my guy. He's my all-time favorite. I just like him to stay retired, because Khabib, win or lose, that's a dangerous matchup. And right now, he still is considered by a lot of people like the pound-for-pound greatest. So
GSP smart. He's done it so smart, man. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna get some hair now. I'm gonna start working out at home and do some, why beat your body up when you've already accomplished all the things that you need to accomplish? You're living life like you want to live it now. So now it's just time to enjoy it. And, he's one of the greatest. Everyone's going to think of GSP as one of the greatest, and he's earned it. And so why tarnish that? Like, Anderson Silva he tarnished it. And a lot of these guys that kept fighting past their prime, you got new hungry lions coming in. You can't always expect to beat them guys, because they're tough too, man. So
yeah, no, you're 100% right. I again, I really much appreciate you taking the time to join me here today. It was a fantastic interview. Make sure anyone that's out there tuning into this, you got to check out Michael versus Jordan Mapa, LFA 97 on UFC Fight Pass, January the 15th. Before I let you go, man, if you want to plug any social media or anybody you want to thank or sponsors, the floor is yours.
All right, yeah. So my Twitter is Michael Stack MMA. My Instagram is going to be Michael Stack _MMA. Just give me a follow on there, and watch me mop the floor with Jordan Mapa.